Good morning. I'm a little bit late today. My head is busted as well. What was I going to say? Everything I do, I do with reason. I've often stated this, but I remember God said to me one time, all you have of them is impressions, and all they have of you is impressions, but all you have of each other is our impressions. I said, yeah, that's so true. That's all I have of them. Like so, for example, all I have of Dr. Grace is an impression, and all she might have of me is an impression. But that's all we have of each other are impressions. But I'll come back to her in a minute. I'll come back to her in a minute because I want to tell you something about how the way this works. If I always ask, why am I here? And I'll ask why am I here, and I'll unravel the ambiguities of why I'm here. For example, why I'm here, like. So I know why I'm here, like, because I don't stop until I've unraveled all the ambiguities, even though this can be a bit of a process. And I teach philosophy here, like, I won't, doesn't matter to who or anything else, but I often, like, it's over a period of time, 5-6 days, and sometimes it's just one night, but sometimes it's 5-6 days. And the people who are here, like, I teach philosophy to over 5-6 up to 10 days. I teach philosophy, traditional Stoicism from a metaphysical perspective, but I teach them, like, the metaphysical perspective. For example, like, Epictetus said before, if something is taken, consider it given back. Consider it given back. And the whole thing is who's the giver and who's the taker, like, because if you think about it, most people don't control their thoughts. So, like, really, whereas I teach people to take responsibility for actions, most people, I don't hold them responsible for their actions because they don't think. Do you understand? They don't think. So if something goes missing, I will accept it with equanimity. I'll just say, sure. Like, even about my money, I said, it's your money anyway. You know what I mean? It's your money anyway. But at the same time, there's still a paradox, control what's yours to control. So, like, for example, I mind my passport because I have this experience. I lost my passport before. Well, I didn't look after my passport before, and that had a consequence. So basically, it's back again to what I wrote in response to Kant's categorical imperative. A man has a right to anything he can take and hold by whatever means necessary, even if he has the formal license to do so. And the other side of that then is a man has to control what's given to him to control by whatever means necessary, even if he has the formal license to do so. I didn't pull that on my ass. But anyway, I'll just tell you a story about how this works. Yesterday morning I came down here to make my podcast, and there was a bowl of chopsicot salad here. So that is tomatoes, cucumber, bit of onion, bit of oil on it, salt, that's chopsicot salad. It's a traditional dish here in Bulgaria. And some bread still in the bag, and everything was left out here on the table here. So I moved to the one side, I moved to that table over there, and I made my podcast, and I went off for a walk to Kaufland. There's a few reasons I go to Kaufland. Number one, it does special offers. For example, like, again, from a metaphysical perspective, the lentils were half price, the rice was half price. And even though I was paying my whole eating lentils, I said, thank you very much. Thank you. Because, thank you. The lentils are half price, the rice is half price. Like, the coffee's half price, and I'm on different coffee. I'm on different coffee this week because this coffee has less coffee and a little bit more sugar, which means, like, you cycle the coffee. But anyway, so I went from the really strong Arabica to the coffee with a little bit of sugar because you cycled it. But I'm not even going to go there. Cycle everything. But I said thanks anyway for the lentils. But anyway, I made my podcast here yesterday morning, and I walked all the way to Kaufland. That's 3.7 kilometers. And when I got to Kaufland was shut. I said, it doesn't open till 8 o'clock. And I said, for fuck's sake, you let me walk all the way here. And the reply was, Why don't you go back and eat the breakfast left out for you? Why don't you go back and eat the breakfast that's left out for you? Now, all week I've been sort of saying, like, that if I don't like you, I won't eat your food, and that is a fact. If I don't like you, I won't take your food. Because even if my soul says to me to take your food, I'll just say no, not his food. I have no interest in him. No interest in. I want absolutely fuck all to do with him. But he said to me yesterday, why don't you back and eat the food? The breakfast that was left out here was a young gypsy lad who was staying here. Now, I like gypsies. I always like gypsies. I think they're great people, like. But at the same time, like, I didn't want to eat the chap's breakfast. I didn't want to eat the chap's breakfast because it's just a chap. I didn't want to eat the chap's breakfast, like. And then I walked over to Lidl, and Lidl wasn't up at 9 o'clock, and I said, Jesus. And Saul said the same thing again. Why don't you go back and eat the breakfast left out for you? So I said, okay. And I didn't really want it, but I listened to my soul. Like, I always listen to my soul. I don't do very much egotistically, and this applies to when I comment on people's things and when I don't comment and all the rest. I don't do that much egotistically. The egotistical stuff is done like up at the likes outside Kaufland or in the bed or even in the toilet. But where I'll argue in private, like. Yeah, I'll argue in private. Do you know what I mean? Like I seen a lad walking across a square, a town square in Rousay one time, talking to himself, full-blown conversation, talking to himself. And I just looked at him, and I said to myself, this is a conceptual experience for me to learn. And I looked at him and I just said, if I don't internalise this, I'm going to be locked up in a nerd house. Because and from then on, I did internalise it. So the arguing is not done in public, but it's done in private. So I came back then anyway, and on the way back there, I passed this bakery, and I was going to stop and buy some bread for my breakfast, and my soul said the same thing, go back and eat the breakfast that's left out for you. Go back and eat the breakfast left out for you. And I said, okay. So I came back and I sat here, I ate the breakfast, I ate 2 slices of toast, and then I said, right, I'm fucking out of here. And I walked back to Kaufland again, and back again. So that was twice to Kaufland yesterday. My knees were shot after it. But I was here then making the lentil stew, and I wasn't sure what the young gypsy was going to say. And we started all sorts of course, thoughts, but it just runs through your mind. But they're just hypotheses. But there's no fear. I didn't have any fear or anything else. It's just a sort of a negative visualization of whether I'd actually say I ate the food or didn't eat the food. But when asked, did you eat my food? I was just saying, yeah, mate, I ate your food. You know what I mean? It's Bulgarian tradition. You left it on the table. And that's Bulgarian tradition, and it's left on the table. It's for everybody. Which is the truth. This is Bulgarian tradition, and by God, the gypsies they're good for tradition now. But the young lad came down anyway, looked, saw the food gone, and then he came over to me with some tomatoes and pickles and said, this is for you. Tomatoes and pickles, said, this is for you. I said, thanks very much. And then he said, do you drink? And I said, God, I do, yeah. And he brought me in a bottle of Mustika and a large bottle of beer. And I said, thank you very much. And the point I'm trying to tell you about this story, I really like gypsies because gypsies know the crack. Gypsies know the crack. Do you know what I'm saying? They actually they know the crack. Like some of them are religious, but basically they know the crack. And the point I'm trying to tell you about this story is I often teach people philosophy with a metaphysical concept because it's traditional Stoicism. It's not this modern bullshit which doesn't work. This modern fucking bullshit is just the psychological bullshit incorporated into the philosophy to dilute it, and it's a Trojan horse to tell people what they want to hear and bullshit that they want to hear, which is just a Trojan horse. Do you understand? It's just a Trojan horse. But I don't do the Trojan horse. I teach traditional Stoicism. Because I say without the metaphysics, and even when I teach the traditional Stoicism, like if something is taken, consider it given back, as difficult as it is for people to accept this and receive this, You have to seek to understand. I'm not trying to indoctrinate you. I'm not telling you to accept it. Just accept it, but I'll explain why. I will explain why in great depth if you want. To any extent that it takes, I will explain it. But I teach this and I will explain it to great depth, and I'll give it to you in any model you want. I'll give it to you in a physics model, I'll give it to you in a religious model, I'll give it to you any model you fucking well want. But it's important that you understand this shit for your own application of the philosophy. But then when I do teach this, I just watch people just go and fuck it up. Because the response is yours. It's like, this is the reason I'm telling you this, because the response was the gypsies. The response was his. Do you understand? The response was his. And he came and gave me fucking a tomato and cucumber and fucking mustika and beer. And I guarantee you that gypsy will be alright. That gypsy will do alright. Yeah. So what was I going to say to you then? Yeah, I was going to talk about Dr. Grace. All I have is an impression of Dr. Grace, but yesterday now we've moved on to her selling me, she's telling me that she's going to teach me how to do my own business, online business, even though that's, I've done that business model 10 years ago. I've done that business model, her very same model. The $9.99 product, the medium range price product, the expensive product, and now we're on to the, I'm going to teach you how to do this. So we're now selling the picks and the shovels and the whores. But we're finished panning for gold. We're going to sell the picks, shovels and whores because that's where the money is. Because that's like, she obviously paid somebody for this business model, and the price I was being asked for this business model was $5,000. So I don't know how much, or if she even paid anybody for this model, because she is a doctor after all in finance of some degree in finance of some description. But I'm starting to like her because, well, she hasn't blocked me for starters, and she's starting, I think, to be a little more genuine, and she's like, the Spartan tenacity is starting to come through, because like I remember in one of her TED talks she said like that her father said like when she was going off to do what she's going to do and leave the career in finance, her father said to her, well, don't come home unless you've been carried on your shield. And maybe that's looking like more and more of a daunting prospect at this point, that she will be brought home on her shield. But the whole thing is with Stoicism is you have to lose your expectations. And I don't know if she has a voice of her own, or a thing of her own, like, but like maybe she's just doing a role. But as I said before, I'm not going to judge her. I don't know her intent. But I know she serves purpose, like, even if that purpose is only this for me to make videos in relation to her content. But but as I say, the Greek, the Spartan tenacity and resilience is starting to show. As I said, she hasn't blocked me, and the resilience and tenacity is starting to show through, because I've seen loads of people who've paid money for that business model, like $5,000. They all paid $5,000 because I used to be in a thing with them, where we all make 1 minute videos, because it was an offshoot from the lad that took the American reel. He did an offshoot, and I remember saying to him, Brian Rose, the man that's selling you this model, has been making videos for the last 6 years, like at minimum 6 years before he even broke through this. Like it's like the whole model that she's selling is I'm going to show you how to jack your job and move to a lovely place like the Greek islands and make videos and do an online business. But this is not within her control, even in relation to herself or in relation to others. But what she is doing is the same as the American gold rush. It is her role to tempt you, to distract you from your will you chase this? This is the carrot to the donkey. This is the carrot. Will you leave all that you have? Will you leave your business? Will you? And this requires reason. This requires reason. Everything is subject to reason. Everything. Good morning.